Well, welcome to Santa Pod. You join us, very limited time we've had to qualify. I think everyone has made the best of the situation. We're looking at Pro Stock. The hot rods that are factory-backed, running on pump petrol, gasoline to the Americans, with a performance in the 7-second zone at over 200 miles per hour. The cars have a short wheelbase, but plenty of space for the sponsors' decals. We'll also be looking at the top fuel dragsters, the Formula One cars, the ultimate drag racing machinery, running on nitromethane over 290 miles per hour in under 5 seconds. And of course, we'll be looking at this man, Barry Sheevels, the defending champion. Let's go with the first of our quarterfinals. I'm joined in race control by Paul Fenners. Good morning, Paul.
Morning, Graham. How are you?
Yeah, great. Looking forward to this. The first round of the FIA Championship for 99. And don't be fooled, that's not fog, that's smoke from the burnouts. You've got a favourite on the start line.
Yep, I reckon that it's going to be Tammy.
Well, Tammy Brander, always hard to get round, came here as the number 5 qualifier and as a real heart customer in Jari Konola. Well, Jari, of course, Susie Bjorkman, the crew chief in there. This is the tensest moment of any race. The Abergs Dodge rolling forward into pre-stage. Tammy Brander close behind. This is where the driver's concentration absolutely on the Christmas tree. Here we go. Who's going to be the first into stage? Everybody's so tense. You could cut the air with a knife. Nobody moving forward. Brander goes into stage. Look at this. Brander all the way. Heads out ahead of Konola. That takes the win with the Pentisol Probe. That's a real turn-up for the books, Paul.
Well, that was on the line and he just carried with it all the way through, Graham. An awesome run.
Well, what a difference those 300ths of a second make. Well, here we go. One car that's not going to be familiar to you, and a car that's very familiar. Jakob Ferrer, the number 3 qualifier, the White Firebird, and alongside him, number 6 qualifier, Krista Anderson, the Dodge Daytona. Well, a new name to us. Anderson qualified with a 7-second time, as did all the pro stockers here today. You have to say, Ferrer is the man who would be favourite.
Indeed, and don't forget, Graham, Jakob's actually teamed up. They're running the 2-car team this year, sharing crew and facilities with Michael Malmgren.
Well, Mike Malmgren, the man way ahead on technology, as we know. You'll see the crews measuring the temperature of the track and the temperature of the slicks. Here we go, Ferrer. Letting Anderson go into stage first. Well, having problems holding the Daytona in the line. Goes wrong, Ferrer stages, Anderson stages. On the grey wall, Ferrer is away. You saw all the racing experience, all came together. And as you would expect, the man gets the win under his belt in the first round.
Well, you can see it, even by the 8th, he was so far ahead there, Graham, there was no chance that Krista was going to catch up.
Well, look at this, Ferrer, 0.5-second reaction time. That is slow by pro stock standards. Over to Jasmine.
It was a great win. We ran a really good run this time. 7:13. We're very pleased with that.
So what now?
Now we'll meet the winner of the next race, and probably we can cut a few hundreds more.
Well, here we go, our next quarter-final, Kjetil Hauger. Kjetil, the number 7 qualifier here today. He's up against it, Panasonic man Mike Malmgren.
Well, Michael, of course, has got so much experience, been racing for a number of years in all sorts of different cars, Graham, and he has to be my favourite, certainly for the whole shot.
Well, you can see Krista, the crew chief, in radio contact with the boss while they go through the manoeuvres on the start line. The burnouts are over. The Oldsmobile Cutlass of Michael Malmgren. Quick measure how high the wheelie bars are off the ground. All this data going together to make the perfect drag racer.
Well, I get the impression this is going to be a real close race this time.
Well, Kjetil Hauger with the Mustang for 1999. The Arnes back car, never ever going to be easy to get round. This is going to be a close race. Rolling forward then, pre-stage. Hauger's in there, Mike Malmgren holding back. Don't forget it was reaction times in '98 that cost Malmgren the championship. He's the first one into stage, followed by Hauger, and the green, it looked to me, Hauger away. We rode briefly with Mike Malmgren, but Hauger maybe has hit the finish line. That's so close.
There was nothing in there at the top end, was there, Graham? That was just so close, just a matter of a couple of foot at the top end.
Well, I would say the body language there from the crew, that is Malmgren losing out to Kjetil Hauger. Indeed, look at that, 600ths of a second, and Malmgren won't be happy, he's not.
Michael, do you have anything you want to say?
Well, we drove through the clutch. The clutch completely burned down for us. I mean, it was just a terrible run. I mean, it's things that shouldn't happen, but it did. I mean, I feel sorry for my sponsors, for Panasonic, for everybody, but this is a disaster. Complete disaster.
Well, he can say that again, exactly the result Mike Malmgren didn't want. Here's our #1 qualifier, and you may not recognise the car straight away. Nicholas Anderson, reigning Pro Stock champion, a bye run in the first round, runs a 7.10 through into the semi-finals. That run nearly faultless.
How are you doing?
It was not so good.
What happened?
No, I don't know what is it. It was not good in the start. I lost the tire. I don't know. We must work for it in the next round. So it's good.
It's very good, 7.10. Nicholas Anderson now going to race Paul Brander. Kjetil Hauger racing Jakob Ferrer in the semi-finals.
And now it's over to the 300-mile-an-hour monsters in Top Fuel. Now, Britain's Barry Sheevels won last year's championship and would be hoping for a win on his home territory here in England. But he was having all sorts of problems with his clutch.
Well, as you know, Paul, there are so many components going to making a Top Fuel Dragster work. You only need one part that costs a few pence to let go, and the whole multi-million-pound operation grinds to a standstill.
Absolutely, and the thing that might surprise most people is there's one part you'd expect to see in that car that isn't, and that is a gearbox in itself. No normal gearbox, just a huge clutch pack in there, Graham.
Well, yeah, and this is the thing that seems to be giving Barry problems.
When I did the burnout, the clutch locked up and I couldn't disengage the clutch. And very disappointing. This is a brand new car. Obviously, we've got a few new car gremlins. The real problem is that we've been here all weekend and it's rained every day and we haven't had a chance to test this car. This is actually only the second time I've ever sat in it. And, you know, there's a lot of technology that goes into one of these cars, and unfortunately, you know, this little bit of technology has let us down. But the real sad thing for us is that this was a one-shot qualifying, and we've missed it. And that means that we're not going to be in the first round of the European FIA Championship, which is a real bitter blow because obviously we're defending champions at the moment. So to say I'm a bit gutted, I could, you know, I could actually, it's pretty poor, yeah.
Now, drag racing is absolutely huge in the United States, sometimes with over 100,000 spectators coming to each of the 23 rounds. Each team could be running on budgets of about $10 million. But some of the drivers have been looking to Europe.
Well, exactly one of those drivers, this man. From the USA, Canadian Gordy Bonin, with Barry Sheevels' 1998 car, packing a giant sponsor to challenge the European teams for the championship in 1999.
I'm hoping to run a 490 or a 5 flat, but you know, whatever run it gives me, I'll take it and I'll drive it to the finish line to beat whoever is in the other lane. I did not come over here to play, even though it might seem like it every now and again, but we came here to, number one, to expose Furlong to the European market and to win the championship.
Well, it's not all out-and-out racing here at Santa Pod. Every now and then, somebody likes to warm the air a little.
And does Martin Hill warm the air or what, Graham? This Westinghouse J34 engine, originally developed as a booster pack on heavy reconnaissance aeroplanes that were launched from aircraft carriers some time ago, ideally suited to this, more or less the same as a funny car in construction, except for the fact that the driver sits alongside that engine.
Well, you can see Martin crammed into the left-hand side of that car. The Westinghouse engine right in the middle, and that carbon fibre for Mustang body. And no wheel drive on this car, of course, pure thrust out of the back end.
And of course that thrust comes out the back of that car and straight into us up here in the commentary tower, Graham. We better hold on tight, here he comes.
Well, let's hold the windows in. Richard has great fun with the Bosch. You can see all communication by hand signals. And yep, that is a real afterburner on that jet engine.
Well, this gets so hot up here in the commentary position, Graham. How long's Richard going to keep him on the line before they go away?
Well, everybody waving, here we go. Martin Hill, the Fire Force. Oh, clicks it off. Our first semi-final of the Pro Stock action, the Firebird of Jakob Ferrer, and of course the Mustang of Kjetil Hauger.
And Kjetil, of course, the surprise winner from round one, taking out Michael Malmgren.
Well, I think Mike Malmgren packing the car in the trailer as we watch this race. This is all the heavy hitters out here, all the temperature sensors, all the electronic wizardry and computers that these cars can pack on board are all right there.
Well, Jakob, of course, had a slightly easier route into this race, taking out the newcomer, if you like, Krista Anderson. Let's see, this is going to be one tough round.
Well, let me just tell you, Paul, in that race between Malmgren and Hauger, the difference on the finish line was 0.001 of a second. Our timekeeper tells me that equates to 3.5 inches.
Good grief.
Wow, well, who's going to be the first into pre-stage? This is where the tension starts. And of course, these guys all know each other. They know who's hot on the lights, and they know who's really hot on the lights. You can't afford to be anything less in pro. So look at this. Ferrer being pushed away from the start line.
Well, this definitely looking like Kjetil's day.
Well, Kjetil on a bye run, goes through, takes the win. Well, what a big disappointment that will be for the Firebird man. Starts off 99 with a disaster in the semi-finals. This then our second semi-final.
And we have in the right-hand lane Niklaus Andersson, and in the left-hand lane Paul Tammy Brander. Niklaus get into this round with an easy bye. I say easy, but he was still on the metal.
Well, Paul Brander really had to work and forge away past Jari Connella to arrive here at the semi-final. And I'm sure everybody feels the pressure of Andersson. That young man really is a wolf on the start line, and any kind of weakness at all, that's going to be exposed pretty quickly.
Well, you say young man, of course, he is only 22 and he's up against a lot of experience in the other lane.
Well, Paul Brander been pro stock racing for a number of years, absolutely at the peak of his performance capabilities, and he'll need all of it. Whatever ruse he can get in there, I would imagine it'll be a real slow staging duel between these two. Andersson rolls forward, waits for Brander to make a move. Both these drivers realise that these races are won and lost on the start line. Brander goes into pre-stage. Well, Andersson doesn't make him wait, rolls in. Brander stage. Well, look at that, a red light for Paul Brander. Hands the automatic win to Niklaus Andersson. Well, what a big disappointment for the probe man. And in fact, you can see from the reaction time, 0.16 of a second really was trying to cut it too fine.
And that's a big coup for Niklaus there, of course, with his managing to psych out the experienced driver on the start line.
Just makes me wonder, though, Paul, whether Niklaus has engine problems with the car, choosing not to race but cruise through, knowing he had the win. Well, maybe this is going to be Hauger's chance. We take a look. This then is going to be the final of Pro Stock. Well, a huge crowd here in the sunshine anticipating this, the first final of the 1999 FIA Championship in Pro Stock. But first, a word with FIA European drag racing promoter Keith Bartlett.
Pro Stock is something I've got a great interest in because it is the class that attracts the manufacturers. I think the Pro Stock final doesn't surprise me in some respects. You know, Nicholas Anderson is a tough competitor. He didn't win the championship as the new kid on the block last year by fluke. He won it on merit. It's going to be a real hard-fought final. I think both cars are going to run real hard, but somehow my money goes all the way down to Nicholas, but he's up against an extremely experienced driver. Chateau Hauger from Norway is a real top driver. That's going to be an all-exciting, typical Pro Stock race.
Well, don't be fooled. The tyre smoke there, it's not the fog hanging over the track. Well, I think maybe there's a bit of a question hangs over this race. Is Nicholas Anderson having problems with the car? Wasn't happy with the bye-run in round one, chose to cruise through in round two. Meanwhile, Chateau Hauger had an easy entrance into the final. Jakob Ferrer braking behind the start line. Don't know, Paul, anybody's race. There are so many unknowns.
And we're never going to be able to second guess it until these cars have actually left the start line. Nicholas always good on the lights, but whether Shettel's lucky day can continue, we're going to find out very, very soon.
Well, the Mustang man, I think, is going to have to play it very, very close to his chest on the start line. He's going to look for every advantage. Here we go. The crew chief motions Nicholas forward. Who's going to be the first into pre-stage? Look how slowly these 500 cubic inch race cars edge forward. Chateau Hauger into stage, into pre-stage. Quickly followed, well, not so quickly. Turn down, going down. Eventually Hauger gives in. Anderson on the green, they both go. Very hard to pick who's in the lead at this point. Looks to be Anderson. Indeed, at the finish line, Anderson takes the win. Wow, what a great race that was. Look at the reaction times. Anderson had to drive round Hauger.
And certainly no problems with Anderson's engine.
Well, how right you are. That pulled strong and true all the way down the quarter mile. And poor old Chateau Hauger had a grandstand view of Nicholas Anderson taking the win. Nothing he could do about it.
And I lost the control with the car, so this time. So
You've got it back on course.
Yeah.
Got it back going straight.
Yeah, and I think I'd take the start, so it was good.
We are very happy with the result, even though we would have won if we could do that.
Absolutely.
We will take them in Finland.
We will take them in Finland. This is the leaderboard after round one. Jakob Ferrer in third place from Chateau Hauger. Nicholas Anderson leading the championship after round one. Well, this is it then, the big one, the final off Top Fuel. But now over to Keith Bartlett.
I think everyone's going to be surprised how well Alan Jackson from England's going to run. They have Bill Schultz over from the States tuning the car. He's going to be a surprise, but my money's going to go on Gordy Bonin. Rooney's had that car running with Barry Sheevels last year. It's a championship winning car. Gordy's a very experienced driver. He's not phased, he's very capable. You saw his runs today, he knew exactly when to lift, what to do. My money's on Gordy Bonin at the moment, but I think it's going to be a close run final.
Well, as the cars go through the burnouts, let's have a quick word with sponsor Gary Schutz.
Drag racing is where we started in America. We have a product that does real well under extreme pressure, and there's no more extreme pressure than a top fuel dragster.
Well, you said it, Gary. Extreme pressure is what these guys work under. And, well, the air's so thick with nitro, you can almost bite lumps out of it.
And very little breeze here this afternoon, Graham. The atmosphere's set for one classic drag race.
Well, of course, he is an American legend, so I'm really looking forward to it, actually. It's my first Top Fuel final, so see how things go.
Well, a massive occasion for Al Jackson. How does Gordy Bonin feel about it?
Nice to be here in the final, first race ever for the European Series. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I fantasized about it when I got here a week ago, but Really looking forward to it.
Well, all the looking forward to is over. The only thing the drivers are looking at now is that Christmas tree in the middle of the track. And as all of these races, this is the tensest part of it. Gordy Bonney moves forward into pre-stage. Al Jackson joins him. Jackson into stage. Well, Bonney rolls forward. Here we go, the green line. Anybody's right. Look at Jackson go all the way through. Takes the win, or does he? Wow, Gordy Bonney really flying there. But it's a win for the Prolog team. Unbelievable, a 5.25. And Gordy Bonney it is who takes the win right on the finish line.
Well, looking like Bonning got away first, but Alan Jackson just powering ahead, and by the 8th, quite a long way ahead. But look at this, the closing speed on Bonning's car.
Left, good, spun the tires. I went, my God, he's out there. Something happened to his car, thank God, because we just passed him, just nipped him in the line.
Wow, what an incredible race that was to start the series off. Gordy Bonney from the USA ahead of the championship from Alan Jackson. Barry Sheevel's yet to score. We're concentrating on the top Methanol Funny Cars. The carbon fibre bodywork on these cars hiding what is simply a race chassis, 230 plus miles per hour in 5.5 seconds. We're looking at the top Methanol Dragsters. Again, the 300-inch wheelbase, that massive supercharger atop the engine, and we'll be looking and charting the progress of our reigning champions. This then, round 1 of competition from Santa Pod here in England. Round 1 of eliminations. The reigning top Methanol Funny Car champion Leif Andreasson with the Firebird, the #1 qualifier here this weekend, up against #6 man Dessau Krivan from Switzerland, the Power Pack Dodge Avenger. I'm joined again in race control by Paul Venners. We'll be interested in your thoughts, Paul, on this race.
Well, of course, Leif has got a whole mountain of experience behind him, but Dessau doesn't get the chance to come out all that often, so I can't help but thinking he's got a very tough one on this first run.
Well, indeed, you wouldn't pick Andreasson for round 1, but if you're going to qualify #6, well, that's going to be the way things work out. The winner of this race has a bye run in the semi-final. It's worthwhile being #1 qualifier, and you have to say, as the car goes in stage, Andreasson holds all the trump cards. Krivan follows him in. The Dodge sitting there on the line, into stage. Andreasson follows him in at the green. Well, it looked to be Krivan away first. Indeed it is. He's out there ahead. What an upset. Well, the reigning champion goes out in the first round. That is a major, major upset.
Well, what a turn up for the books.
Well, you couldn't have called that one. Into our next race. Alex Joon from Holland with the Ford Pro burning out, and his opponent in round 1, the Viking, Leif Helander, the Stark Otter man, with that Saab-bodied funny car.
Well, I had a chat with Leif earlier on in the pits, and he wasn't too happy with a few things on the car.
Everything been going Lex Joon's way for quite some time now. And the Dutch Spirit team are really up on top. In qualifying, Joon, the #2 man, Leif Helander, in at #5, but it's at your peril. You decide not to take the challenge of the Swede seriously, because Leif Helander is very tough to get round. This is going to be a goodie. The #5 and #2 qualifier matching off in first round. Saab plays Ford. Into pre-stage, both cars. Joon rolls forward. Who's going to be first into stage? It is Lex Joon. Helander follows him in at the green. Well, it looked to be the Dutchman away. And indeed, problems for Leif Helander. The Dutch Spirit team take the win through into the semi-final.
The Dutch team going to be very happy. Helander's team absolutely distraught, but both cars off the line almost together there. You'll see just 0.3 of a second in it.
Well, the battle of the Quaker State cars. Michael Kagerad nearest the camera, the Quaker State Express, and don't be fooled, a similar paint scheme for this man, Urs Erbacher. Urs, the number 4 qualifier, and again, Mickey Kagerad, the number 3 qualifier in this near side lane.
And Mickey Kagerad, of course, one of the only professional drivers in the European circuit. When he's not driving, he's taking that car all around Europe to various exhibitions on behalf of his sponsors. So a full-time crew here.
Urs Erbacher, a long-time drag racer, and these two have met many times before. Real big guy, a weightlifter. Michael Kagerad, more like your regular Formula 1 driver. A small but very active guy indeed. Reactions like lightning into pre-stage. Kagerad in the right-hand lane. Here we go, both got stage. Oh, it looked to be Erbacher away first, but look at Kagerad charging after him at the finish line. The Swede takes the win. Well, who'd have thought that the Camaro came from behind?
Absolutely, came from nowhere and drove straight round us. Unbelievable piece of driving there from Mickey.
Well, how often have you seen Michael Kagerad beaten away from the start line? This sets up our semi-finals. Dessau Krivan, a Byron, Alex Yohn and Michael Kagerad. Well, we go to the first round of Top Methanol Dragster. A real close-up view into the eyes of Dave Wilson, our number 1 qualifier here for Team Nemesis. A combining of talents. The Glendow and Redstone team and Dave Wilson's own Krypton team are now running this Dragster under one banner. Number 1 qualifier tells you that things are working well for the team. Well, now we're looking at the reigning Top Methanol Dragster champion, Peter Beck from Switzerland, the number 4 qualifier here. Problems in qualifying, of course, that was shortened by the poor weather on the Saturday, and he has quite a race on his hands. Bit of an unknown to us, but a young man, the name of Eero Kilpalainen, racing a race car that is a proven 5-second car. Juha Lappinen was the man who used to campaign this car in Europe. The car's been missing for a couple of years, but has reappeared in Eero's hands with all new engine parts. So Peter Beck may be right up against it. We know the car in the near side lane is a flyer, but we know very little about the man driving it. Well, Peter Beck about to find out. Beck the first into pre-stage, followed by Kilpalainen. Here we go, first into stage goes Eero. Peter follows him in, oh, red light. Well, showing the inexperience, the pressure got to him, and that start line not to be taken mildly. And a red light there hands the automatic win to Peter Beck, and I think Peter Beck may be a little bit relieved about that one. We go on to our next race, Great Britain's Rob Turner and Great Britain's Doug Bond. Well, when it comes to top methanol car racing, Doug Bond's been there, got the T-shirt, done it, seen it, most of it 3 or 4 times. The Shell Sport car he campaigns with Martin Hannis, Ollie and the boys is always a strong one to get by. Not the quickest of runners, but given half a chance, Dougie Bond will be through to the next round.
Just so long as he doesn't get plagued by the mechanical problems that he's had in the last couple of years. They've had so much tough luck, Graham.
I know, and this car, they just keep coming back with it and back with it. Let's concentrate on this car for a second. The Silkeleen car of Rob Steve and Carmel Turner, well, on their day, almost unbeatable, certainly in the UK. Has to be the quickest and fastest car that stays on these shores, and Rob is a very, very confident driver these days.
And just keep your eye on Steve as he guides Rob in and then fires him up, ready for the lights.
Well, the body language on the start line says it all. This is a battle royal. The Turners won't be taking it lightly. On paper, you've got to expect the Silkeleen car to take the win. Rob Turner first into stage. Well, Dougie Bond is first away, but look at that. The Silkeleen car just overturns that lead. Rob Turner bounces through, 6.01, takes the win through into the semi-final. Well, I think Dougie and the team will be more than happy with that run from the red Dragster. As you can see, pulling all the way down the quarter mile, Rob Turner took the lead at half track and went on for the win.
I think Doug Bond left on me.
Yeah.
I saw him in front at the start of the race, carried the wheels off the line, but came back down about 100 foot out. But I short shifted it, and also it was a bit nerve-wracking before the run. We sat in the cars for a long time.
Yeah.
That's when lots of things go through your mind.
Well, lots of things go through your mind. I guess Rob's going to be wondering who is going to be racing in the semi-final. The answer's going to be coming up pretty quickly. Jarmo Roivus, runner-up in the championship for 98, and from Germany, Peter Schürfer.
Well, Jarmo has got to be the favourite to progress for a long way through the ladders today, Graham.
Well, just take a look at the engine for Peter Schürfer. A small block Chevrolet engine cowering underneath that enormous supercharger. Yes, there really is a V8 under there. These cars, the methanol powered cars, depend so much on the supercharger to make the power. Well, Schürfer, the number 7 qualifier, not had his best qualifying session. Roivus, the number 2 qualifier, and I would imagine Peter Beck already feeling his breath on the back of his neck. That snarky shark nose on Schürfer's car rolling into pre-stage. Both cars waiting now. Who's going to make the move into stage? Well, Schürfer in there. Roivus follows him at the green. It looks to be Roivus away, but look at this. Schürfer, well, loses power very quickly. Roivus takes the win.
Oh, what a shame. You could see away from the lights there. It did look like Schürfer was out in front. Indeed, he was up until about the 8th.
Well, something breaking on the car at that point, Paul. You can see Schürfer definitely slowed a 670. Let's take a look. The semi-finals. Dave Wilson against Peter Beck, Jarmo Roivus and Rob Turner. We go into the semi-finals of Top Methanol Funny Car. We're also going to be looking at the semi-finals of Top Methanol Dragster, and already the racing has been superb.
I guess one of the first things that's really going to establish itself in the year 1999 is the division of Top Alcohol Funny Car and Top Alcohol Dragster. We made the division last year, and what the result of that division is this year there's a lot more alcohol funny cars out, and the balance you're going to see in that particular class is wonderful. We've got 12 alcohol funny cars racing and 10 to 12 alcohol dragsters, so I think that's going to be a very exciting class.
Let's go with the funny cars. One race in the semi-final for Holland, Lex Joon. For Sweden, the Quaker State Express Chevrolet Camaro of Miki Kagarad.
Well, both drivers very experienced, both drivers very good on the lights, but of course Mickey, at least looking as far as this season goes, got the faster car, Graham.
Well, indeed, but never discount the Dutch team. They are so quick to learn. And this is now their 3rd funny car that they've run in Europe, and learning every time. New sponsors on board for 1999 for Lex Joon. Quaker State, Sweden, young man from Linköping. Stay with the Chevrolet Camaro. Here we go, Joon waiting on the start line in pre-stage. Miki Kagarad rolls forward, joins him there in pre-stage. No messing around with these two. The revs come up on the car. Kagarad into stage, followed by Joon on the green. Anybody's race. Nothing to choose between these two, but look at the power of the Camaro. Drags it through on the finish. Miki Kagarad takes the win.
Oh, what a surprise, though. Lex Joon staying with him all the way there.
Always on the cards, Paul. These two are great racers.
We burned the clutch up, and the run was not good, but I won the race anyway, so I'm pleased.
Well, that sets up our final. Deso Krivan, he went through on a bye run. Leif Andreasen should have had. Michael Kagarad races him in the final. Okay, we've had a brief look at the funny cars we know is in the final. Let's go with the Top Methanol Dragsters now.
Well, Peter Beck, after all those triumphs last season, said to be the favourite, but of course the Wilsons, everything coming together on that car, running so fast and so strong, and getting that bye from being #1 qualifier.
Well, Team Nemesis really are getting it all together, learning about the new technology, working with the new parts, and of course, Regular and Peter Beck already well clued in with the tackle that's on that car. They know how to win races. They know how to be European champions. Don't forget, Peter Beck going for 3 in a row.
Well, this is going to be a very, very tough one to call.
Well, when you get a view into the cockpit of those cars, you realise just how busy the drivers are. The tension mounts, both cars in pre-stage. Look at this, who's going to roll in first? Nobody wants to stage. Wilson goes in, followed by Beck at the grid. Well, Beck out there ahead. Can he hang on to it all the way? Indeed he does. Translates that reaction time into a winning run, and look at the difference in reactions. Dave Wilson, well, a touch slow away from the line. You can't give Peter Beck anything.
Well, given that Peter got such a good reaction time, I think Dave did so well to keep up with him till just past the 8th, and then Peter Beck just pulled out ahead of him, and there was no catching back up again for Dave.
Well, now up against it for Rob Turner, the Silkeleen Dragster. This is going to be a hard one. Runner-up in last year's championship, Jarmo Roivers from Finland is over in that other lane. Rob and Steve know all about that. Well, Simo, the crew chief for Jarmo, absolutely tunes this car at will, can predict what time the car is going to run. How do you race a team who are so knowledgeable about what they're doing? This is how we're going to find out. Can Rob Turner pull this one out the fire? Roivers waits in pre-stage. Rob Turner, well, rolling forward to join him. Here we go, both cars in pre-stage. You'll hear the revs come up on both Dragsters. Turner first into stage, Roivers joins him at the grid. Oh, it looked like Roivers got a hold shot, but look at this, how Turner was out ahead, smokes the tyres, Roivers gathers it all together and takes the win. I thought Turner had that one.
Well, Turner cut a much better light, but unfortunately losing power and threw it all away.
Well, that sets up our final. Defending champion Peter Beck, second place man from last year, Jarmo Roivers. We go into the final of Top Methanol Funny Car. One of the cars, this one, absolutely expected to be in the final. The other one, the car from Switzerland of Dessau Kriva, not expected to be there. Let's have a word with FIA, European drag racing promoter, Keith Bartlett.
That's going to be tough. Michael Kagarad's a top experienced character. He knows this track very well. He's got good backing. The team are very good. But I'm delighted for Denzo Krivan to make the final. Denzo didn't run all the championship rounds last year. Low budget guy, reached the final. It must be great motivation for him for the rest of the year. Secretly, I'd actually like to see Denzo give Michael a real good run for his money, and that's possible, but everyone knows Michael Kagrad is very, very difficult man to beat, especially on the lights.
We've a long tradition here in the UK of cheering on the underdog. Okay, Miki Kagrad may be the favourite to take this final, but you can't help feeling that the man from Switzerland has had a charmed run through here to the final, particularly putting out #1 qualifier and the reigning champion to race here against the Quaker State Camaro.
And we've already seen he's cutting good lights in that car, putting in a fair turn of speed today. So I think this really is even Stevens as the cars come up to pre-stage.
Well, here we go. Kagrad, the seasoned campaigner, lots of hours on the car. Dessau Krivan, well, not so well known over here in the UK. Racers out of Switzerland. Kagrad first into pre-stage, followed by Krivan. Here we go, the revs on the cards club. Kagrad in, Krivan follows him. Oh, no movement, something breaks on that car in the left-hand lane. Miki Kagrad takes an unopposed win, a 6.23. Even on reaction times, Miki Kagrad had that one sewn up. And what tremendous misfortune for this team from Switzerland.
I know he had some problem because he didn't do the burnout then. So I know I had the win already.
Yeah, you had it.
So, but it shake tires again. But yeah, I took it easy and won the race.
Well, the big surprise after round one, last year's champion Leif Andreasson in fourth place. Miki Kagarad has the lead. Who would you choose to be in the final in round one of Top Methanol Dragster? How about last year's champion and the man who was in second place? And that's just what we've got, Beck and Roivas.
There's only one answer I can give. You know, this guy never ceases to amaze me. Peter Beck from Switzerland, last year's champion, was coming into this race today as if he's never won a race in his life. He's fighting to win every single round. He's the ultimate professional with a very low budget. I think everyone in that class runs very well. I think everyone can do well, but my God, they're going to have to be good to beat Peter Beck from Switzerland.
Wise words indeed. Jarmo Roivas has been there already. He will remember and still be smarting from 1998. Well, Peter Beck, the first man back after the burnouts behind the start line. You get a nice close-up view of that massive supercharger. Almost buries the engine. 16 spark plugs. Well, you count them, 2 per cylinder. Peter Beck has to be the favourite. This is going to be make or break for Jarmo Roivas. Beck into stage. Roivas follows him in. Well, they say the last one to stage takes the race. That's not often proved to be true. Absolutely motionless. Beck goes in. Roivas follows him. On the green. Well, it looked to be Beck away. Roivas smokes the tyres once again, but doesn't get away with it this time. Peter Beck takes the win in round one. Well, a slower reaction time as well for Beck. Roivas behind all the way down the start line. But what a tough man he is to get round. Peter Beck takes the win for Switzerland.
I think we make a good job.
I think you've made a very good job. 5.95.
And we have problems in the run before. We changed the camshaft. The old camshaft is broken and we assemble a new. And the time is very short for this. But I think it's good.
Well, we think it's pretty good as well, Peter. The Brits in third and fourth place. Jarmo Roivas keeps his second place. Peter Beck ahead in the championship after round one. Well, we've seen some great racing in Top Methanol Dragster and Top Methanol Funny Car. Don't forget to join us for round two from Alastaro in Finland.